Hey guys, how's it going? So, today I am going to be talking about a film that I have been trying to watch for about 5 years now, which is Pink Flamingos, which has been regarded as, I don't know if it's one of the most controversial films, but it's definitely up there. Matter of fact, I didn't know till I started looking at this film after watching it yesterday that this film is still actually banned in certain cities and towns, and I think it's actually still banned in a few countries, which is kind of fucking wild that this film still is like actually I don't know how that goes. Like I'm not sure how a band go. Like I guess you can't just buy it or you can't have the DVD. I'm not really sure how you exactly ban a film like in just one city. I'm not sure how that goes. I'm sure it's probably like some kind of just like passive law where it's there but nobody gives a fuck. Because I can't imagine that like some authority is gonna arrest you or like gonna give you a charge for watching Pink Flamingos. But funny enough, I have been trying to find this film for a long time. Because, a matter of fact, 5 years ago, back in 2020, I kind of made a goal for myself to watch the most controversial slash the most disturbing films, not like of all time, but like up there in the list. And I've seen most of them, from Salo, a Serbian film, Nymphomaniac, Cuties, which is, regarded as highly controversial, actually. Pretty Baby, a few snuff films, post-keepy tapes. So I've seen a good amount, or even funny games. So I've seen a good amount of like the most controversial or disturbing films. But Pink Flamingos was like the one film I could not find. And then when I did find it, the only way I could watch it was on Criterion Collection. And at that point, I did not have any way of actually playing it. But outside of that, like I think, and I don't even know if Criterion still has it, but when I found it, like the only way I could see of like being able to watch it was Criterion, which was like 3 years ago. And at that point, I just didn't have any way to actually watch the film, like on DVD or on the disc. And outside of that, like there was no streaming service, there was no torrenting service. And funny enough, the way I actually watched the film was on the Internet Archive, which I have to say, the Internet Archive, I didn't even think about this, but that's a really good place to find films and just like media that is just not available other places. Like the Mickey Mouse short Runaway Brain from the 90s. You can watch that on there. You can watch the Censored 11, the infamous 11 animated shorts from Warner Brothers, and then also Pink Flamingos. And there's like a ton of other stuff you can watch on Internet Archive. So, like, it's kind of wild how, as much as I look for this movie, I never thought or even, I don't even think I ever thought about looking at Internet Archive. And it just so happened by pure coincidence that I actually found it. I was just looking at Pink Flamingos and like that was the first thing that popped up, which is wild because when I checked when this was released or like uploaded to the archive, it was uploaded I think in 2022, which was about the time I probably was looking for this film. So it's kind of interesting how I just did not actually notice this. But on the film, after watching the film, I can see why it has its reputation. And the film is kind of interesting as well because it's not really taken seriously. It's a very lighthearted story, even though it's lighthearted with a lot of dark subject matter. Like there's incest, there's sex trafficking, there's the business of trafficking children. Uh, there's a lot of very overt sexual, I guess you could call it activity and acts. There's very grotesque things that happen in it, like the infamous ending with Divine eating the literal dog shit after the dog shits it out. So yeah, it's a very grotesque film, which is very lighthearted with dark subject matter. But what I found fascinating, one of the most fascinating parts of this movie are the two villains, who I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but they remind me of like a Saturday morning dark version of Jesse and James from Pokemon. Like they got the red and blue hair, but they just seem like slapstick Saturday morning cartoon villains. But they're actually fucking horrible. Not maybe not horror, but they're very like dark, disturbed villains. And what's fascinating about the film is like the whole conflict is that Divine is considered like the most nasty or the most gross person. And the villain couple, their plan is to prove that they are actually the most grotesque and disturbing people out there. And honestly, I'm kind of not sure, like, how, like, I'm not really sure how Divine got that title because, like, when you watch the film, I mean, yeah, they don't live the most clean life. I mean, they're not the most sanitary, but they're not like just living in absolute filth and shit. Like, I mean, their little trailer that they live in, it's not bad. I mean, it's just out in the middle of nowhere, but it's not like just completely trash with just shit piled up, in heaps. And even like the people that live there, like the mom who's mentally challenged, I mean, I was okay. It's kind of weird how the mom is like in this fucking baby carriage with a very weird obsession with eggs. That's kind of strange. And then the son's obsession with fucking with chickens being involved and shoving or trying to force chickens into women's vaginas when they're having sex. So they're okay. They're out there. But as far as like being like filthy, the most filthy and disturbing people. I don't really think that they could even. I don't know how they could even get that title because, like, until the end of the film, with the whole eating the dog shit, Divine. I mean, yeah, she has some things like putting the meat that she gets from the store, between her crotch and cooking it. That's fucking out there. That is out there. I'll admit that. But like she's not really that disturbed or that just overtly grotesque. But when you look at the two villains, they are actually, I would argue, without question, extremely more disturbing and grotesque. I mean, the villain couple, they have these two chicks that they rotate, who they have chained in a basement, essentially sex trafficking, where they chain or capture and chain young girls in a dungeon and impregnate them with a servant, and then sell the children in an orphanage racket. To me, that is far more fucked up than anything that Divine does, or even like anything that she has a reputation for. Like, because even the most grotesque things she does are not really that bad. I mean, she's just kind of an out there character, But I mean, as far as like having the title of like being the most gross or disgusting person, I didn't really get that. Like nothing throughout the film indicated that she was. I mean, I will say, the whole incestual or borderline incestual scene where she's blowing her son. Okay, that's they're out there. So I'm not saying that they aren't. You know, okay, maybe now I'm thinking about it, yeah, they are kind of fucked. But if we're comparing them to the villains, I don't think that there is as close of a competition or like a competition to be made when you compare what they do. Because it really seems like the villain couple, they have just no fucking morality. Like they are just pure deviancy. Like they revel in all types of disgusting shit. And it seems like Divine does have a sense of morality and a sense of moral justice and what's right and wrong. Like when she finds the the women chained in the dungeon, she frees them, and she helps them. And I mean, she really pretty much throughout the whole movie is like the underdog because it's her having to deal with getting fucked with by the villains, and then I mean, until the end, before that, she really doesn't do anything that's just extremely disturbing or overly grotesque. I will say, I thought that there was going to be a very horrific, grotesque payoff with Divine's mom. So in the movie, Divine's mom has a very bizarre hyper obsession with eggs. And she's clearly not all there. And she's sitting in a baby carriage, like a baby crib, for most of the movie. And she is just fucking devouring like a black hole, like just endless amounts of eggs. And for a minute, I thought that at some point she's gonna have like a just god awful, fucking disgusting diarrhea, or she's just gonna fucking unload just Niagara Falls of just shit everywhere. And I kept kind of cringing about that. I was like, "Oh fuck, man! There's gonna be a scene where she's just gonna fucking unload." And seeing how the movie had been going, by the time I thought that, I just thought, "Oh, this is gonna be fucking awful." But that never happened. Luckily, thank God. And really, there's really nothing to that. Kind of funny enough, like it's just she likes eggs. I will say, I myself like fried eggs and variant of eggs cooked. Watching this woman eat eggs almost has put me off. Maybe not forever, but it has certainly put me off for a minute from eating eggs. I have not seen anyone make eating eggs look as repulsive as she does, which is the point. I mean, it's par for the course of them being disgusting, grotesque people. There's also this weird subplot with so they have an Eggman that actually comes by and personally delivers eggs to them. Now, I'm sure that they probably had that at some point, kind of like how back in the day, like in the 50s and 60s, they had milkmen that came by to deliver the glass of milk. But I've never heard of like an actual just straight up egg person that comes by and brings people just fresh eggs. I mean, that sounds like something you kind of do just on the farm. But there's this weird subplot of the Eggman having a crush or being in love with the mom. And so they end up getting married at the end. And there's this whole kind of weird like sub romance plot, which is just kind of it's there. It's probably one of the more kind of tame things, and what is weirdly enough, as grotesque and as weird as Divine's mom is, and as weird as the Eggman is, their relationship and their subplot is kind of the like one of the more wholesome parts of it. Like they end up getting married at the end of the movie, and they end up, leaving to his house, or he ends up having to put her in a fucking the thing you like push like gardening equipment, and he has to like haul her off, and just they're never seen again. Like we never see the Eggman again. We never see Divine. They're just gone. Like once they get married near the end of the movie, they're just fucking gone. We never see them again. So weirdly enough, that subplot is just kind of the most wholesome part of it. Like I'd argue it probably is the most wholesome part. Like they get together, they get married, they love each other, and they pretty much ride off into the sunset. But also when it comes to the film, something else that it does pretty fascinating is like I said earlier, it has a lot of dark, it has a lot of dark themes to it, from kidnapping and drugging women, having women as pretty much like sex slaves that are, pretty much, yeah, sex slaves that they breed and pretty much die. Like the first time we see the dungeon, they're bringing up a baby from a chick that just died giving birth, and so it seems like that they just have like a cycle of kidnapping women, and they just die in the process of childbirth, and then they sell the child to like a lesbian or gay couple, and they profit from it. And then they also apparently, as they say in the movie, they like distribute drugs to elementary schools. Like that's the thing. Like when you start like really thinking about all the horrible shit that this couple does, I don't know how like they are not even in the consideration. Like how Divine got that title and how they weren't even considered. I mean, first of all, they should be fucking locked up for life. I mean, considering all the shit they're doing, but like considering what they do, I don't know how they are like second fiddle to Divine. And then also, with the movie, I don't know how Divine got the title, but going on with the theme, like there are so many dark aspects of this film, but like the film manages to never get too serious. Like the film, it never takes itself too seriously. Like even with all the dark material, all the dark themes with trafficking, it still has a very kind of light-hearted, kind of tongue-in-cheek take on it. And it makes it weirdly enjoyable. Like even when there's like the most disturbing parts of it, it's never overly dark. It's never serious. It never takes away from the comedy. It's always like this nice balance of it's serious in a way of like not taking itself serious, if it makes sense. But also when it comes to the characters, like the characters in this film, are very interesting. I mean, between Divine, and then between her mom with her, so her mom, they don't really go into detail, but it's very obvious, and they kind of talk about it in the film that her mom's mentally challenged, and like all she does, from like the majority of her dialogue and her character is just eggs. Like that's it. All she cares about is eating eggs, having eggs. And there's also this like funny part where she's concerned because she doesn't know where eggs come from, and she asks Divine, like, is it true that eggs come from birds? And Divine's like, yeah. And her mom's like, well, what happens if there's no more chickens? Like, what's going to happen to eggs? And Divine's like, no, there's always going to be chickens. And she has like this panic of like, well, if there's no more chickens, I'm not going to be able to have eggs, and then the eggman's going to lose his job. And she like goes in almost in like a fucking manic panic over like the concept of like not having eggs, like that there's actually a possibility that their chickens might not exist anymore, and that eggs won't be a thing anymore. And it's just funny, like it's fascinating how a character of just such a simple, not even like just like simple traits is so entertaining. And she doesn't become overbearing either. Like you could see a character like this becoming very annoying very easily, but she never really does, at least for me. Like she's always enjoyable. And she also has this kind of like genuine, sincere wholesomeness to her, like this like weird innocence to her that's just enjoyable. And then you got Divine's son, who is just fucked on several levels. He definitely takes it after Divine, with his strange sex habits. Then also being attracted to his mom, and then straight up getting a blowjob from his mom. And yeah, like when you start breaking down the characters, they're all fucked in some way. Like I don't really think there's a character in this film. Now that I think about it, yeah, there's really not a character in this film that is not fucked in some way, like in some like behavior wise. Like maybe no, because I was gonna say, so there's like this roommate that lives with Divine, her son, her mom. And I was gonna say that she was like the normal one, but she's not, because she gets off on watching Divine's son fuck in these very strange ways with women. So she's out there. So everyone in the film, like, there's not a single character in this film who was not fucked in some way. And so it's interesting because you have all pretty much like, I wouldn't say there's no heroes per se. I mean, because Divine, like I said, she doesn't come off as like a villain or even like an anti-hero. I mean, she's more of just like an underdog because she's just reacting to like a conflict she didn't even ask for, didn't even want, that this couple has started with her. And I mean, but like, there's really no. I mean, I guess you could see Divine as a hero per se, but I guess that kind of depends on what you see as a hero at the end, where she ends up straight fucking being judge, juror, and executioner for the couple. So depending on how you look at it, she might not even be a hero. But yeah, the characters, that's one thing that really was a highlight for the movie. Is like you have all these interesting characters with these this very disturbing, grotesque character traits. It's straight up just deviancy, like this revel in deviant shit. And so that was one of the highlights of it. But as far as like the reputation of the film, as being like one of the most controversial, or one of the most like out there films, I kind of can get it. I can kind of see it, but I don't think that this film has anything in it that would warrant it or should warrant it to be like banned. To this day, to still be banned. Like I don't think it's that out there. I mean, there are some parts where it gets kind of dark and kind of disturbing, but like I said, it's never a film that's like Salo or 120 Days of Sodom. Like that's a movie that's just fucked, or a Serbian film. Those films are just completely fucked. They're not that there's no redeeming qualities, but they are fucked to a point where I have like a almost like a struggle of trying to find anything of like merit to find those films. And I would think about watching them again, but just thinking about, I'm like, yeah, fuck no. So like with this film, there's like a lot of highlights to it. There's a lot of good things to it, and a lot of enjoyable things. And it's fun too. Like, weirdly enough, with as grotesque as this film is, it's very fun. It's very actually kind of comedic. And So, like, yeah, I think that this film really, I wouldn't say it's like it should have like the title of like being in the most controversial or even like the most like disturbing films. Because I remember I looked up a list where this film was in that, and after watching it, I don't even think it really cracks like the top 20 for that. Honestly, I mean, there's tons of other films that should be up there way before this film. But yeah, after my 5 year journey, I guess, of trying to find this film, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I cringed at certain points. I squirmed at other parts, but that's kind of the point of it. I mean, the film is not supposed to be a pleasant film. Like it's supposed to make you kind of squeam and cringe and be like, "Oh God, that's fucking disgusting." I mean, I think it goes without saying, you should not watch this film eating or drinking, or if you're gonna eat or drink, I strongly recommend you do it before. And if you're someone who has like a weak stomach for looking at very overtly grotesque shit after eating, you might want to put off eating until you watch this film and then wait a while because this is definitely a film that will either ruin your appetite or fucking make you vomit up whatever you just ate after watching it. But yeah, that's those are my thoughts on Pink Flamingos. This is a film that I enjoyed enough and found fascinating enough that I felt like I just wanted to talk about, especially after the journey I had trying to find this film and actually watch it. And I have to say, after watching it, I think it was worthwhile. I think it was definitely worth, spending, on and off 5 years trying to find it. But yeah, this has been my little review for Pink Flamingos, and I think I'm gonna call it a day here. But until next time, I'll see you guys then.